What's going on, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George Ango always deliver the big names. Doesn't get any bigger than this. One of the greatest of all time in the sport of mixed martial arts. Demetrious Mighty Mouse Johnson. What you sipping on there? Tea, water, what? Are you gonna plug something?
Water, just water,
Huh?
baby. H2O, Mother's Nature's healthiest drink to your body.
It looks like you're pulled over on the side of the mountain, like maybe you just got done snowboarding, or where are you at?
I am down. I am getting ready to pick my kids up from school. So,
Oh,
I pick my kids up from school every single day. It's something I do and I cherish. And it's Friday, and I'm gonna pick them up from school and take them to their haircuts.
it's been almost 2 years since you retired. And I really have an appreciation for how you did it. You didn't do it right away. You took time to think about it. It's coming off a win. Um, how much did it mean to you to take your time and not do anything pressing? Like Jalen Turner the other day, he wanted to do it, he wasn't sure, and to do it off a win, so you didn't have any regrets. You called your own shots.
Yeah, I think it was important for me to take that time, because I think as a professional athlete in mixed martial arts, you never know when it is the right time as we see it when it comes to mixed martial arts, right? It's like, oh man, this guy's on, 8-fight win streak. What is there left for him to do? Should he keep on fighting to make money? Should he retire? And for me, I knew after that Adriano fight in Denver, Colorado, I was like, oh man, is this what my life is all meant to be? Just keep on fighting and over and over and over again, go to the press conference. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to see if I can be able to sustain, make money without getting punched in the face. And so I was like, I'm going to give myself a year to see if I'm going to miss it, to see if I'm going to, miss the press conference, miss fighting, miss competing. And as time went on, I fell in love with jiu-jitsu and the gi. I started building the YouTube, started doing the Mighty Cast, started creating, different things and working with different businesses. I was like, man, I really don't miss fighting. And then, I didn't want to hold up the division as well. And so I told, Chatri and the competition team at One Championship, I was like, hey guys, I think I'm done. They're like, are you sure? We would love to have you back. And I was like, yeah, guys, I think I'm done. And they're like, all right, we respect that, and we want to send you off, with a great ceremony, and that's what I did at Denver, Colorado. So I thought it was perfect, and I think, and to speak on Jalen Turner's thing, because I'm a big fan of Jalen Turner, the Tarantula. I feel like for him, he said it best that, mixed martial arts is the one sport that you either have to be all the way in or all the way out, right? And I think for some people, they have a hard time finding that healthy balance. And for me, I did mixed martial arts when I was working full time. I had kids. I was there all the time with them. I'm not saying he wasn't, but I was able to balance both those. And I think for him, he had a real struggle to find that in between. That's what I got from when I read the thing he put out there. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, but it's unfortunate, and I hope he finds what makes him happy. That's the most important part is fighting. Like Dana White said it. I know a lot of people. Dana White gets a lot of shit and but Dana White is very straightforward, and he is transparent, which I like. Sometimes it come off rude, but he says fighting is a very small part of your life, right? Like I'm 38. I haven't fought in 2 years, so I retired when I was 30. I stopped fighting at 36. I got fucking 20 years. I got hopefully 40 years of living, and fighting was only 20. Started fighting when I was 18, so 16 years of my life, 17 years of my life, or not. So I still train every day. I still love the process of getting ready for competitions. But actually, the professional side of it, it's a very small part of your life.
In almost 2 years, have you had a day where you thought about it? Or have you ever gotten an offer so sweet where you're like, hold on a second, you have to bring your wife in, maybe the manager, like, okay, let's give this some serious thought?
Nope, not at all. I've had offers come in. I had great offers, had pay-per-view offers come in. And I was like, no, I'm good. Because I feel that, I try to be a man of my word. And I told myself that I'm never going to try to make money. I'm never going to take a fight to make money. Those days of using my body to make money are over. Meaning, I'm not going to sign a contract and go fight. I still make money with my body as, modeling or, YouTube or doing sparring videos on Travel World and doing the Mighty Journey. But as far as like, hey, I'm gonna sign this contract, and at the end of this contract, I'm gonna get like a 7-figure paycheck. Never like that, 7 or 8-figure, whatever it may be. I told myself I'm not gonna do it anymore, and I just think there's no point to, right? Like, there's got to be a point in time where it's like, okay, when is enough, right? Like, and I felt that after that Adriana fight. Okay, this is the pinnacle. Like, I was a UFC champion, I was a one championship champion. There's nothing left for me to prove here. Like, what, make more money? Like, when I talked to GSP before I retired, GSP goes, if you're worried about money, there's thousands of ways to make money, Demetrious. Same thing Habib said. He goes, what am I going to fight for? Money? I can make plenty of money. So there just comes a point in time where enough's enough. Like, even sometimes when I watch some fighters fight, I'm like, what are you fighting for? Like, you made enough money. Like, do something else. But, you know, I can't tell everybody else, other fighters what to do.
Yeah. Well, you picked two great names to reference who kind of went out on their own terms, like you. I guess seeing Arlovsky, what happened recently to Tony Ferguson. There was one other name recently too, and I lost it right now. But just not being able to kind of have their moment. It just seems so cruel to exiting on your own terms.
Yeah, I think if you look at mixed martial arts, it's kind of like the stereotype of retirement, right? It's like the sport retires them instead of them retiring the sport. And like I said before, Andre Arlovsky was a big fan of his, and he was a very big a light for me when I got into mixed martial arts, when I was watching him in his younger part of his career. But for me, you know, you look at GSP. I mean, he went out on his shield. He went out on his own. Habib, he left when he wanted to. I'm actually older than Habib, and I'm like, holy shit, you retired how long? And he's just like, yeah, there's just no point. And I think, you know, those guys out there like Islam, I think he'll get to a point where it's like, I think I'm done. Same with like Ilia Topuria. I think he'll get to a point where it's like, okay, I'm done. Where that's how it should be. I think athletes should want to go out when they want to, and not, you know, when they say, oh, well, the sport didn't retire me, I decided to retire. It's like, well, you know, I feel if an athlete goes out in a loss, it's kind of like, I feel like they stopped doing it because they couldn't be at the best, and if they couldn't be with the best, they didn't want to do anymore, so they just weren't good enough. Where I knew I could still fight. Like, I can still fight to this day if I truly wanted to, but it's like, I don't need to. Like, I don't need to fight. And I think that's the beautiful thing about this situation that I'm in is, you know, I did sprints on Wednesday, lifted weights, and then Thursday trained for an hour and a half, did like 6-7 rounds live hard, and then today I did 7 rounds, I think 7 or 8 rounds super hard. I feel great, body's great, mind's great.
So you could just compete to cash a check, or you're saying that the bar that you set, you could fight at that championship level if you wanted to still at 38?
Oh yeah, absolutely. 1,000% I could. Yeah, I mean, it's the only difference of like fighting at the highest level of mixed martial arts is intelligence, room era, you know, getting the body ready for that. But like I truly feel if I wanted to compete at a championship level, I could truly do that. Like, the question is, do I want to make the sacrifices away from my wife, my kids, you know, 8-9 weeks doing the exact same thing every single day, be bored out of my mind? It's like, oh, here we go. It's like, no, I don't want to make those sacrifices. I'd rather spend time playing Marvel Rivals with my son, playing My Little Pony with my daughter, and hanging out with my oldest son, getting him ready for his football camp. Like, that shit right there is way valuable than any price tag that I can make in a fight or any championship I can win in a fight, because I've already done all that for 6 years and plus some in Asia. But the stuff I'm doing now with my wife and kids, that's a small part that I get to have, because eventually they're going to grow up and there isn't going to be any more Marvel Rivals. There isn't going to be any more My Little Pony. There's going to be me running routes with my son. That is, you can't put a price tag on that until, you know, yeah, that's how I feel. So, yeah.
Hey, Demetrious, you know, in other sports, when you look back at different generations and you see players, you can respect their game and you look at it. But I think the newer generations kind of look at it and go, wow, but the players are so much faster and stronger now. Do you think in a few years, because you're a little bit ahead of your time, I believe, as a fighter, do you think it's going to be hard to get judged fairly on your skill set when we look at generations going forward?
Who, my skill set?
Yeah, when they compare you, you know, like say 10 years from now, and they go back and look at your footage.
Oh, I don't think I'll get a lot of. I think they'll think that I was well rounded. I mean, even to this day, you know, when I talk to other athletes, you know, we had Manel Kopp on the Mighty Cast, and he was like, "Dude, you were like you were well rounded. Like you can grapple, you can strike, you can clinch, you can do that." And even to this day, I see guys in the highest level of mixed martial arts who are so one dimensional that become world champions. I mean, I think, you know, that's just an honest truth fact. That's not me degrading anybody's skill set or game. That there's still to this day, you can be very deficient in one place in mixed martial arts and still become a world champion.
When you look at a guy that's on top right now, like Pantoja, and you look at his skill set, and you look at the rest of the division, is it more of those guys just aren't doing what's necessary to beat him, or is it that this guy's just on a completely different level?
I think with Alex Pantoja, he's really good. I've always felt he was a dark horse of the flyweight division ever since he jumped on the Ultimate Fighter, that, you know, show with Henry Cejudo versus Joseph, and the winner get to fight me. And I mean, you look at, like, you know, I think he lost the first fight in the house. I could be wrong. And then you look at Tim Elliott, and you look how the paths have just, you know, went totally different ways. Tim won it. He fought me. Pantoja didn't win it. You look at Brandon Moreno. And I feel like Pantoja's in this realm now where, you know, they brought Kai Asakura over. I knew about Kai Asakura before the whole world did. You know, I saw his fights in Ryzen where he beat Kyojo Horiguchi. Then Kyojo Horiguchi turned to beat him. And then him and, what's the gentleman's name? Manel Kopp. They fought. Manel Kopp knocked him out. So I knew Pantoja was going to eat him up. Now I think Pantoja's in this almost a place that I'm in, where I was in, where who's going to stop him, who's going to stop him. He's going to be taking on Kai France, I believe, next. That's going to be an interesting fight because Kai France does have the knockout power to knock anybody out. He's knocked out Cody No Love, who was a former, you know, bantamweight champion. But when you look at what separates the two is the grappling ability. I think Alex Pantoja has a huge advantage on the grappling. And so, you know, a person who looked very great in his last outing. Manel Kopp looked phenomenal. Fast hands. He took on a very, very tough young contender. Stuffed every single takedown. Ended up finishing him with the hands. And I like that matchup between Manel Kopp and Alex Pantoja. Now, when those two fight, you know, Alex Pantoja is going to have to, you know, measure the void, figure out how he's going to get across him, how he's going to get get across the void and get to him. And I'm already talking past Kai France. I'm not looking past that. I'm just looking like the recent fights that I watch. You know, when Kai France fought Steve Erceg, you know, I wasn't, you know, that fight, Kai France made it look easy. And Steve Erceg is also, you know, when I say people are one-dimensional, what I mean by that is that they haven't gone out there and displayed other realms of mixed martial arts. You know, that's just my viewpoint and my analyst of what I'm seeing when I watch them fight. So, but I think Alex Pantoja is in a real good spot. I think he's well-rounded. I think he's good at grappling. And I can't wait to see what he does against Kai France. And then I hope that if he ends up beating Kai France, or Kai France ends up beating him, you know, I'd like to see Manel Kopp get the opportunity to fight for gold and, you know, go from there. But when I look at the whole, you know, the scheme of, you know, the landscape of mixed martial arts, I still think people have deficiencies in their games and they're able to be world champions. I'm not saying every champion has deficiencies, but I'm just saying that, you know, we look back 10 to 15 years, shit, hell, even 20 years, that I think my skill set and what I was able to do in mixed martial arts will hold a test of time because, you know, I've got every fucking way you can win a fight. I've knocked somebody out. I've knocked somebody out with a high kick. I've submitted him. I've thrown him in the air, touched him with an arm bar. I've done everything essentially.
You know, you mentioned GSP and kind of leaning on him for advice, Khabib. I'm sure a lot of people do the same for you because of what you've been able to do in the sport. If a guy like Ilia Topuria reached out to you and said, look, you've been the smaller guy before going up in weight, what advice would you give him now that he's kind of made the choice to move up?
I wouldn't have to give him any advice because from what I heard, he walks on 180 pounds. So I think he's good. Yeah, I wouldn't have to give him any advice because he's big. You know, for me, I was the smaller guy fighting at 135. You know, walking around. I'll never forget when I fought Dom, I was 138. You know, coming home from training. Or then when I went down to 125, you know, I felt like I was at a good size. But even Ian McCall, I remember talking to him, he was like 150. So, you know, there's some advice I can give him. He's pretty well-rounded. You know, he tends to go to the fight, trying to knock people out. But I believe he has a good, legit wrestling game. He can wrestle. He can grapple. Yeah, so I don't need to give him any advice.
At 172, your old belt is being contested.
Yes, sir.
How do you see that breaking down? You know, you've fought both of them. Can you kind of give us a little bit of a preview what you see in that one?
I think that's a great fight, a great matchup between Yuya Wakamatsu taking on Adriano Moraes. You know, I fought both of those guys. You know, me, Adriano had a trilogy. Adriano is great, all very, very well-rounded. You know, good on the feet. He likes to set traps. You know, great grappling. That's his strongest suit. Is, you know, takes you down, gets your back, locks up them long-ass fucking legs, gets that body triangle, and he's looking to choke you out. Or if you shoot in, he's gonna look to guillotine you. And when you look at Yuya Wakamatsu, I think he's probably the best striker on the feet when it comes just to pure striking. He's very fast, hits hard. And when you go back and look at their first fight when they fought, I was there live, I felt Yuya Wakamatsu was doing a good job of giving Adriano a hard time to get the game going. And then eventually Yuya Wakamatsu shoots in for a double leg and Adriano catches him. And when you look at that matchup, you know, you guys got to be able to keep it on the feet and try to not fall into one of Adriano's traps, while Adriano's got to do a good job of getting across the void, taking him down, and, you know, submitting him. That's how the fight is going. That's how I think the fight's going to play out. And I give the matchup to Adriano because I think grappling is just such a very, very powerful martial arts to have. And I feel the person who has the better grappling is always going to have the edge over the striker.
Demetrious, did you catch any flack for the Jones comment? A foul's a foul, a loss is a loss. You guys you're in the GOAT fraternity, but at the same time, same management. So I didn't know if you caught.
I think it's on. I don't think I get slack because I think people need to be more stick to their morals and their constitution and what they believe in, right? Like, trust me, if it's like, for example, when TRT Vitor Belfort blew the fuck out of Michael Bisping's eye, you know, now TRT is illegal. You can't use it anymore, right? But at the time when he did blow the shit out of Michael Bisping and Luke Rockhold, all those wins count. Now, do we go back and say, well, it's illegal now, we got to take that away? No, it was legal at that time, so it was, a viable. The Athletic State Commission, let him go. He gave him an exemption to be juiced to the gills. Now we look at Jon Jones' situation. At the time, yes, Jon Jones was whooping the shit out of Matt Hamill. Matt Hamill got lucky as fuck that he got that W over Jon Jones. Yep. But at the end of the day, Jon Jones still lost because he broke the rule. And I feel if I were to lie and say, man, Jon Jones, man, of course he won that fight, man. It didn't matter. That would be me going against my rule, my morals and like what law is like, as they call it now, they call it base. That means you stand on base. You stand on your principles. I have nothing but love for Jon Jones. Me stating that Jon Jones lost, has an L on his record, do you think that's going to change the perception of people's minds of him being the GOAT? Like, even today, I still think Jon Jones is one of the greatest of all times. I don't care if I get flack or not. That's how I see it, right? But you can't make everybody happy. People are going to agree with me. People are going to disagree with me. But at the end of the day, that's my opinion. And even though that elbow is legal now, doesn't mean, it's like I use a reference of, marijuana. I blaze up. In 1995 and I get arrested. It's on my record. Now you can blaze up on the street wherever you want. Does that mean they're going to wipe that from my record? No, I still fucking broke the law.
Yeah.
And it's funny.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and I think it's funny how people are like, they're like, oh man, it's not a big thing. It's just, hey, he lost, to Matt Hamill. He did an accidental elbow, 12-6 at the time. Yeah. It wasn't legal. So he got an L on his record. But now, we fast forward. He He can do 12-6. He can do the Jon Jones elbow, and nobody's gonna bat an eye.
Completely agree, man. When that rule change came, we had a lot of discussion, but I was like, I saw a clear 12-6. I don't think Mazzagatti was out of line because he was just following the rules. And I get Mazzagatti's the criticism people have had for him and all that, but to me, it looked that way. And just because they changed the rule, even Dana started saying they're going to go to the commission, see if they can overturn it, or I don't know. But come on, guys. At that point, we'd have to overturn Aljamain and Peter Yan. Same thing, you know. Like, we can't rewrite the history book, but there's a big difference between GG saying it and the GOAT. You know, one of the GOATs saying it. So I was glad that you were on our squad now, man, with that one.
Yeah, like I said before, it's funny. Everyone's like, "Oh man, you Jon Jones happy?" Nobody said that, but no, I mean, you know, when Jon Jones says his greatest of all time are GSP, Anderson Silva, Habib, and whoever else, and Jose Aldo, huh?
John said that?
Yeah, he said it before, like in his like when they ask him who is his GOATs, do you think I get mad that I'm like, I don't know, that's his perception. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Like, everybody has their own perception of who the greatest of all time is, and there's nothing wrong with that. So, and I'm happy he's honest about it, right? Like, I don't want to be around fake people. Like, if people don't think I'm a GOAT, that's fine. Like, I'm not going to be pissed off or anything like that. It's like, why would I be mad if I'm not on his Mount Rushmore? Does that make sense? Like, why would I want to hang around or have somebody just put me on their Mount Rushmore so I don't get mad at them? Like
hey, at the end of the day, the greatness still comes down to those title defenses. Have you ever noticed those lists that get put together? The ones that have the title defenses seem to be more at the top versus all these guys that keep chasing champ status. It's great at that moment, but I don't think it puts you up there with the legends.
Yeah, I think with me, Anderson Silva, GSP, Jon Jones, the guys who, Jose Aldo, even Ronda Rousey, Amanda Nunes, all the athletes who were able to be consistent every single time, every night of fight night, passing every single drug test, making weight every single time. There was something to that, right? I mean, and there's something, every once in a while when I look at champ status, like the only champ status that I truly I'm like, yeah, that's fucking champ status, is probably Henry Cejudo. And the reason why I say that is because you look what Henry Cejudo was able to do. He was able to beat me. Then he defends the belt against TJ Dillashaw. And then he goes up to 135. He beats Marlon Moraes, wins the belt. And then he defends that belt against Dominic Cruz. Not one champion who's become champ has ever done that before. At least to my memory. Right? Conor knocks out Jose Aldo. Then he goes to fight Eddie Alvarez. Then he disappears off the face of the earth. Daniel Cormier.
He defended both.
Daniel Cormier did?
Yeah.
Who did he win it from?
He defended against Derek Lewis on one, and I think he had two at light heavyweight, but he did defend at heavyweight, and so did Amanda Nunes.
Gotcha. So those three.
But when I heard you say what you said about Cejudo, I was thinking, wow, those are some all-time greats he mixed it up with. There may be something to be said out of all the ones that were champs and defended. He might have had the more impressive.
Yeah, and I think then somebody can go back there and say, well, Daniel Cormier never beat the champion. It was a picogram that beat but those athletes that you just listed out, those champs, there's something special to say about that, because for them to win it and defend it, Amanda Nunes, I wish she would have more in her division, just more substance. It's like, how many girls went to 145-pound division? I think it was like her, JDR, I believe her name is, and then I can't think of anybody else in the 145-pound women's division at that time, right? So I felt like Cyborg was there too, right? Yeah, it's like, Chris. Yeah. So I would say the stable ones who had like depth and like just kahunas is that heavyweight and the light heavyweight and the flyweight and the bandweight. Like, that is fucking killer's row. Like what Henry did and what Daniel did, like those but the Henry's the one that stands out to me because he was just on a fucking tear. Like, he beat my ass, and then he goes and beats up TJ Dillashaw, then he beats up Marlon Moraes, and then he beats up Dominic Cruz, and then he walks away from the sport. Damn it.
All right, I know we're a little over on time, but can I ask you one more?
You guys are good. I got 20 more minutes, so we keep on vibing. We keep on vibing. What's up?
Oh shit. Okay. Listen, it was you. This only came up while you were talking. How old were your kids when you retired? Did at least the oldest one get to see daddy perform and understand it, or
Oh
is
yeah,
it okay?
yeah. At one point, like they knew what I did, and at one point, my oldest son was like, "Man, I want to see you fight one more time, Dad." Like when Alex Pantoja called me out, he was, "Oh, Dad, you should go back and do it." I was tired. I was like,
Well, here's why I brought it up. Here's why I brought it up. I just finished telling you what a great exit you had, and of course I'm going to contradict myself. But as you were talking, I thought, okay, it's cool that you can pick up your kids at school. It's cool that you guys can spend time together. It's cool you guys can do Disneyland, all that stuff. But you know what's also cool? When the whole family goes out and sees dad whoop somebody, man, could that even cancel out 6 months of the other stuff you were saying? I mean, I don't know, like especially because now they're a little older, all of them.
They already get to see me do that. They get to see me do that in jiu-jitsu and IBJJF. They get to see me whoop on some people, and they get to see me get choked out. So it works out perfectly.
Okay. I wouldn't side that with the other stuff I've seen you do, but okay. I mean, I understand, and like I say, it was something that I thought about because I know that you're so close to your kids and you like watching them on the bikes and doing the other sports, and I wasn't sure if they ever caught a glimpse of how great daddy was.
I mean, they get to see it when I do jiu-jitsu, right? Like they see it. They see it when we go out and about. People stop me and they talk to me and ask for pictures, so that they see it. And you have YouTube and all that stuff, and they see me work out all the time. They see, like I come home, my fucking shirt off. They're like, "Damn, Dad, why are you so fucking jacked?" And I was like, "Because I've been jacked my whole life. Like I'm not just gonna turn fat." Like, so they see it and they see the hard work I put into it. And like I said, they get to see me compete in jiu-jitsu, and that's that's good enough for them.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever see the movie The Gladiator in the year 2000?
Russell Crowe?
Russell Crowe.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
For a moment there, and I may have told you this before, I don't know, maybe I told Goes, but when Pantoja did say something, it almost it reminded me of that scene when the Spaniard was winning over the crowd, but then they brought in a guy named the Tigress of Gaul or something like that, who was an undefeated gladiator, who was going to maybe take the Spaniard out, and I was like, okay, I can see Demetrious being the Tigress of Gaul, and Pantoja right now is the Spaniard, and so maybe they do something to bring in the undefeated legend back, maybe that's what pulls them in.
No, I don't care.
Obviously YouTube's blowing up, over 1 million subscribers, folks. You got to check out the mighty YouTube channel and all that, but that's having your other businesses has helped with this decision, I imagine, right? If not for the other decisions, you think you might have got caught in that web of like, okay, the fighters got to do it for the money?
Yeah, absolutely, 1,000%. I think I was always very smart with my financial decisions at a very, very young age in mixed martial arts. Ever since I was 18 years old, when I was making 3-3 and 5-5 and 6-6, I was always very I was around a lot of great people, and one of the things that Matt Hamill told me, after, I never forget when I was about to fight Brad Pickett, I was like, man, if I get that fight night bonus, the $65,000, I'm going to buy a fucking car. And Matt Ryan goes, you're going to buy a house. You're going to invest your money. And, I was 22 years old. So ever since then, I've always made sound financial decisions, made investments. I got Quantum Energy Squares. We just came out with a brand new flavor, chocolate chip cookie dough. We're in Sprouts, REI, all the Whole Foods. We have Zekin. I have Portable Consultants. Just the list is go. Then I have the YouTube. We have the Mighty Cast, Mighty Journey. I mean, when I'm able to branch out and start spiderwebbing, you take a step back and you're like, fuck, man. I mean, there's no point to fight anymore when you just keep on building these businesses. And I tell everybody all the time, I was like, it's going to be dope. Connor's made more money from Proper Number 12, the Forge, Iris Forge. He's made more money from that than he has ever made from fighting, right? And that's the goal. Like when you were able to, like, I made more money. Like Shannon Sharp, you know, I listen to this podcast, Club Shay Shay. He talks about like how much money he's made in football and how much money he's made by doing his podcast and club Nightcap, and he owns those things. He's his own boss. He doesn't have to worry about going into a negotiating with, you know, a promoter saying I deserve it. It's I'm past that now. Like I hope, you know, when athletes listen to this interview, I hope they look at it. It's like, okay, I got to start thinking like Mighty. I got to start thinking about like how Shannon, how Connor did that. I got to start building, invest my money in different brands. And there's other athletes who do it. I just don't know if they're, you know, outspoken as I am. But I think that was the most important part of me making my decision of retiring from the sport of mixed martial arts is like, hey, you know what? Like, I think it's the perfect time to go out. I'm healthy. I still train. I can still run around my kids. And, you know, my CPA was like, you don't have to fight anymore if you don't want to. And I was like, I'm done fucking, I'm good. I'm out.
Not a wrinkle on your face. You look well rested. You did do it the way you should, and somehow you're managing, you know, all these other things in your life along with the family, and you look at peace. So that's great. And yeah, I also endorse Nightcap. Is hilarious with Ocho and him pushing back and forth on them old stories. It's funny. It's become one of my favorites as well.
Yeah, I love it, man. And they're just he's a huge inspiration for me. And, you know, I feel like the reason why I'm able to do all these things is because I have a great team. You know, like when it comes to the YouTube channel, you know, Michael Wandover, Nick Pappas, Med, Sammy, we have a very small team, and we all work together. We talk to each other every single day because we want to be able to be passionate enough and give the fans something that they can't get anywhere else, right? And so that's why we have the Mighty Cast, you know, me being able to talk to different athletes. And I feel like I resonate with the athletes a lot because I've cut 8.5 pounds before. I fought, you know, in front of my belt multiple times. I've showed up to a fight, get ready to cut weight, and I get a call from the, you know, Hunter saying, hey, dude, you got to stop cutting weight. He's sick. He's not going to make weight. I'm like, fuck, what? I'm already at 128. What are you talking about? Like, I've gone through the trenches of fighting in mixed martial arts. So I feel like, you know, I can ask the questions and vibe out with the athlete. And then when it comes to the Mighty journey, me traveling around the world, training with the best of the best, and just vibing out with those guys. Because if you look online, there's not a lot of videos of me training for my fights. Like, I wasn't a big spar. I mean, I sparred a lot, but I wasn't a guy who, and granted, in the time I was coming up in the sport of mixed martial arts, social media and YouTube, you know, social media wasn't what it was. Where now you can, if I go like Ilia Topuria sparring, you can find hella video of him sparring by typing, you know, this athlete. You can find footage on them. There really isn't a lot of footage of me training, and now athletes are getting a little a peek into it of how good or how well-rounded I am through the Mighty journey. So, but that's all shout out to the team, the wife. She handles all the logistics and the children. So we got a great team, and I'm excited for what we got coming in the future for you guys.
Did you finally get all your belts up to Washington?
Nah, I didn't got all my belts. If I got all my belts, I don't know what the fuck I would do with all of them. I got one belt. I got
a badass man cave, man.
I mean, I got 1, 2, 3. I got 3 belts on display. I got the UFC belt, the One Championship gold belt, and I got the Grand Prix belt. I got my SB on display, and I got my my One Championship Hall of Fame on display. I don't know where else I'm gonna put them belts. So and I got other belts that are in fucking. I got a belt at my dad's house.
The UFC doesn't deserve to have them. You deserve to have them.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not gonna argue with these guys. They want to send them, they can send them. They don't want to send them, then I gotta send them. They probably ain't got them anymore. They probably gave them away on eBay or something.
Man,
you know what I would do if I were you?
Treat this champion with respect.
I would be so ridiculous that I would actually turn my seat belt into that belt if I had extras. Why not?
That sounds horrible. You know how much? I mean, the UFC belts aren't that heavy. If it was like a One Championship belt, 22 pounds on my chest when I drive, that sounds fucking horrible. Fucking like something about that heart attack, just the pressure on the chest.
That was
okay, but they do exist. They're just sitting there and you haven't taken them home, right? Or are they playing hardball?
You know what? Next time I see Dana, which I'm sure I'm gonna see him one of these days, I'll say, hey, I'm gonna say, hey, dog, hey, from a bald man to another bald man, where my belts at, dog? Where my belts at, dog? You know where the belts at? He goes, dude, I don't know where they're at. I'll ask him when I see him, but I'm not gonna make a fucking phone call. Yeah.
Okay, last question. Who's on your most current Mount Rushmore, since we brought that up earlier? Is Jones on yours?
Yeah, he's on mine. I will give Jones, Anderson, GSP, and fuck. Are we doing current active fighters or are we doing
All
retired
time.
fighters? All time? Oh man.
Or you can do
Okay.
both if that makes you feel more comfortable.
Yeah,
Current
let's do
and all
both.
time.
Let's do
Okay.
both. We're gonna do old time. I'm gonna put Jon Jones. Only reason I'm putting him up there because his ass ain't acting up to be an active fighter, so he's gonna be up there in the old people. Jon Jones, Habib, Anderson, and Habib. Now we look at
Wait, you said
active.
Habib twice.
Did I say Habib twice?
Yeah.
Oh, Anderson, Jon Jones, GSP, and Habib.
Why don't you put yourself in there?
Because a man doesn't make a statue of himself. Okay.
Okay.
And then when it comes in new time, you're gonna have to go with Ilia Topuria. I really like Charles Oliveira. He deserves it. Or Islam Makhachev. Islam. So Ilya, Islam.
What about Aspinall? He's been whooping some butt.
He has, but he's making it look too easy. I want to see him battle adversity.
DDP?
Yeah, I put Dricus du Plessis up there. He has a unique style that he's beating people right now, and he's pretty well-rounded too. And I put Pantoja up there. I think Alex Pantoja. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that'd be my 4. Yeah, that'd be my 4. Like, it's hard for me because, like, what do they just do? The fucking pound-for-pound rankings just came out, and it was like Alex Pereira drops from like what 3 all the way down to fucking 9, and I'm like,
on ours, 2 to 8 on ours.
2 to 8. I'm like, guys. Yeah, I can't.
What's wrong with that?
I mean, let's talk about. So we got time. So we got this time. Let's go ahead and vibe out, boys. You know, I was gonna do this today on my channel, but we'll do it on your guys' channel. What? Okay, it's all speculation on what you guys think is pound for pound, right? So, in your guys' eyes, what does pound for pound mean? Like, what does it truly mean to you guys? And I'll give you guys my definition.
Okay, do you want to go first?
So I'm a big stickler when it comes to true pound for pound. I don't even like to go past 5, but everybody does 10. The reason I don't even want to go past 5 is because you're talking about such an elite level of person that you don't even want to talk about rankings anymore. Now we're creating something new. So if you're going to do that, these people have to be pretty much impeccable, right? Once you get past 5, I feel like you're talking about a really good fighter. The guys above that are great and untouchable. So guys who have pushed themselves in multiple weight classes, guys who in their division have completely ran through them, those sorts of things is what I look at. What about you, George?
Okay, so from the boxing world, because I used to be a fan of that before MMA even started, you would hear arguments like, if Muhammad Ali was a middleweight, he could have taken out Sugar Ray Robinson. If Sugar Ray Robinson was a heavyweight, you know, so a lot of that like what if stuff, right? How would their skills transfer in another division? And then another thing people would say is, how great is this guy and this guy when this guy's cleaned out his division, lapped everybody, and this one just got there or whatever? So it's like, what have you done within your own division, and how would your skills transfer into another division? So I'm a big proponent of Pereira because he won a title at middleweight and he won a title at light heavyweight. Then he started accumulating some title defenses, right? But he recently, took that L. And I've heard you before talk about this. I think it was with us. I know part of your the criteria to determine GOAT is the well-roundedness of the fighter, and I respect that too, Now, the problem is, and I do the rankings for USA Today Sports and MMA Junkie, is we're splitting hairs with all the greats. So usually all those pound for pounds are usually mixed up in there with the ones that are being champions. And that's why I need to give you a lot of credit, because I think you went 18-2 at 135 before you even moved to the other division, and then obliterated the flyweight division.
Damn, I was 18-2? That's awesome.
Something like that. So I go, Demetrious has been a bantamweight and did very well, and then a flyweight and best ever. And then Jon Jones now won his second title. He's only had one title defense. GSP got there. So a little bit of that criteria, you know, and you just mix it up like you're making a soup. But that's
Yeah.
kind of like what I think about. But Pereira dropped because for one, he you know, he lost. Um, and all those other guys we mentioned just haven't been losing, and they're defending their titles. So you have to make a shift somewhere.
Yeah, I just feel like when you look at the pound for pound, I truly believe, once again, it comes down to, you know, like the real roundness. Like when I look at somebody like Alex Pereira, great guy. I'm a big love it.
Me
Not once
too.
you go pop up, never pop up. A double A takedown or boom, step off, clinch, elbow, knee. Like there was no well roundedness in his game, and he was number 3. And I'm like, dude, you can't like. And when he lost, it wasn't like he got the bricks. I mean, yes, he did lose. I had it 4-1, but it's just like the fact that like he lost and he dropped such a significant where I don't know. I just feel that like once again when we start talking this conversation, like there's still many guys in the sport of mixed martial arts. Like MMA is the easiest sport in the world to become a world champion. You can suck. You cannot have you can have such holes in your game and become a world champion.
Mhm.
And and when I look at when it comes pound for pound, like Jon Jones, yes, I agree. He's right now Islam Makhachev is the pound for pound best fighter in the world now. He can strike, he can grapple, he has judo, he has jiu-jitsu, he's battled adversity. He is the pound for pound best fighter in the world. Jon Jones is right after that because he can do it all. Adversity. He's grappled people. He's been in the game for a very, 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 very long time. Ilia Topuria is getting up there. He's battled adversity when he fought Max Holloway. When he fought, there was another guy he fought, super tall guy kicked him in the head, dropped him. He was able to get back. But Ilia Topuria is going on this route where he's just knocking people out. Like he doesn't need to use his grappling. So we'll have to see what happens when he goes against a guy who's like, I'm gonna take you down and see what's gonna happen. Alex Pantoja, I will give him up there. He's able to strike. His striking isn't the cleanest. He's not boom. He's not like good rhythm on the feet and pop up high kick, boom. Like he doesn't have none of that yet. But his well-roundedness, his strategicness, and his grit is up there. Volkanovski, I'll get up there, even though he's on a losing streak. I would have Volkanovski over Alex Pereira just because he's more rounded, right? He's wrestled, but once again, it's all based on somebody's perception of what they call around it, because people can get by far in mixed martial arts, become world champion, and never even test the realm of all the realms of mixed martial arts, right? It's
But
like,
Demetrius, I think you're making the argument more for GOAT rather than pound for pound.
oh,
Because the one thing Islam hasn't done is he hasn't shown us can those skills transfer to another division. Topuria is going to show us.
yep.
Volk fought Islam very, very tough in that first fight. Hayda's won the 2 different ones. He's competed in 2 different ones. He's won the 2 different belts or whatever. But
I think Islam hasn't had the opportunity to show us yet.
right,
That's
right.
he hasn't had the opportunity to show us yet, right? Like he's asked to go up to fight at 170, but he has that relationship with Bilal Muhammad, and I think he doesn't want to go up there and waste his time. But if Jack Della can get past, Bilal Muhammad, then we could potentially see if Islam's skill set will transfer over to 170, which I believe it will, because when I trained with him and seeing how big he was at that time, he's forcing his. I think he'll be fine at 170. I truly believe so. Only thing he's gonna have to make a difference for is just the size and the weight, and that's for someone who's well rounded and has so many wins in different areas of knocking people out and submitting them and all that stuff. I think he'll be fine. He's not someone I'll be worried about. I would be more worried about somebody who's not well rounded. But then again, at different weight classes, you get away with it, right? You can be a strong striker at like middleweight, and then go up to light heavyweight, and then heavyweight, because I mean, there's so many good guys out there that who haven't had the opportunity. I mean, I don't know. That's just my opinion. When I look at like people's skill sets, like I like to look at like, okay, what's this guy going to be able to do when they fight somebody who's able to take like when Alex Pereira fought Magomed Ankalaev, and he said, "Oh well, he put me against the cage." It's like, you let him put you against the cage. You can't say that. I mean, he did put you against the cage, but you allowed him to put you against the cage.
Good
So
point.
I mean, that's just. I mean, and the only reason I speak that this is the echo chamber from Matt Hume. Like when people do what they do to me in the fight, Matt's like, you fucking let him hold you down. You let him pass you, guard. You let him do that. So why wouldn't it be any different if Magomed Ankalaev, did that to him, or if I'm not gonna use Alex Pereira. I mean, think of another person, or Sugar Sean O'Malley. Oh, all Marab did was take me down. You fucking let him take you down. Right?
True.
Yeah.
You let him take you down. You didn't sprawl and knee him, catch your head, and those are the things that go through my mind when I watch fighters, because like when I fought, Adriano, it's like I didn't, he fucking caught me coming in and caught me with the uppercut, and I was trying to get up, and he blasted me with that knee. He blasted me. I allowed him to blast me in the knee. That's why in the second fight, I was like, I'm not fucking rushing across the void. I'm gonna walk my black ass across the void, and then when I catch you, I'll catch you, and yeah, so it's just, I mean, but once again, this is for me doing the sport for 20 years and still continuing to watch, and I still train mostly jiu-jitsu. You know, I think striking never changes. Jiu-jitsu changes. There's so many different avenues you can do with long limbs and different styles if you're Nagi and no-gi. But when I look at the landscape of mixed martial arts, I'm like, God, there's still so many holes in people's game, and I'm not saying I was yes, I will say I was efficient in every single round with mixed martial arts, but I had holes in my game too. But yeah, I just when I look at when I saw that like Alex went from fucking like 2 to fucking 8, I was like, God damn. I was like, that's fucking brutal, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and it's subjective, and it was a fun chat, and no one's ever wrong. It's just opinions. So thank you for
Yep.
sharing yours. Thanks for going OT with us. I did the math. I know you got to get your kids, so we really, really appreciate you spending some time with us, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys check out, 1172 Japan as Roten takes on Takura, and Adriano Moraes takes on Yuya Wakamatsu. And then who else is on that card? You got Taiwan Chai. You got Super Lake. It's a bad card. It's a badass card. So make sure you guys tune into that.
Awesome.
Nah,
All
but
right. Thanks for the time, champ. Take care.
Bye.